Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com. Today, we are doing an update on the economic situation in Venezuela. We already know that the Venezuelan economy has grown on double digits the past couple of years, of course, regarding GDP. Now, the situation on the first quarter, and you might say almost the first semester of 2023, it hasn't been quite the same. Today, we're going to review a couple of numbers and how the Venezuelan economy is right now and what can we expect for the rest of the year. So let's start. After a couple of years with steadily growth since 2021, and I will say a stabilization of the Venezuelan economy since 2018, and the sentiment on the Venezuelan economy has been quite positive compared to the previous decade that was just dreadful. However, the situation right now is, according to the sentiment on small and mid-sized companies, business owners, it's quite a little bit pessimistic, not as draconian as we thought on the general sentiment, not only on business owners, but the population overall, that it was truly pessimistic during the past decade. Right now, we have something of a, let's say, a letdown on the economy on the first quarter on 2023 and the interim of the second quarter of 2023. So I have some data, is I have to read this. So first thing is the first quarter, it's been way worse compared to the first quarter of last year, 2022, that it was quite good. However, April, remember we're filming this on on May, and it's been a little bit better. April has been a little bit better, April 2023, but the first quarter was dreadful, mostly slowdown compared to like I said, the previous quarter, the first quarter of last year, and also that usually, traditionally here in Venezuela, the first quarter and usually the month of January until mid-February is very slow. That's traditionally any given year on Venezuelan standards. The first quarter and the first month of last year was quite good, and that actually was a surprise, was a black swan, a good black swan on this case. However, things have been a little bit slow on first quarter. Now, other thing that according to some business owners have said is they tend to hoard inventory or raw materials if they are on the industrial side. And this happens, and this is more of a mindset of the Venezuelan business owners because they usually like to, when we didn't have the dollarization of the economy, is that in order to protect their currency and their purchasing power, they exchange bolivars for a lot of inventory or raw material in order to protect themselves from inflation. Not quite the case right now because we are being dollarized, de facto dollarized, but still the prices on USD are being increasing. Of course, nothing to compare to the Venezuelan Bolivar prices, but still they have this mindset, acquired this Pavlovian reaction on the business side, and that's for one good thing. The good thing is they are prepared for the future and they are more optimistic on months to come, but still they are not selling as much. Now, and the other thing, according to the business owners, is that 2022 was very bullish and they were actually over investing on their respective businesses on that time. they increase the capex on any given business, on talking marketing, I'm talking PPE, plant, property, and equipment. Of course, if they have branches, they have subsidiaries, they were increasing those numbers, maybe hiring more staff for their respective business. The other thing is, and this is probably the best news on this regard, is been a price cool down because prices were significantly increasing since 2018 on USDs. This is not on Venezuelan bolivars. I'm talking real prices denominated on USDs were significantly increased and have been increasing since 2018. That's what's basically the bottom of the previous economic collapse. Other thing that you have to mention that the area of Venezuela where this thing is more pronounced is on Caracas. Of course, it's the capital, but it's more to that because in Caracas, in the broader Caracas metro area, not only just the city itself, it concentrates 40% of GDP, of Venezuelan GDP, almost half just on a city and the nearby areas. And you have to take into account that Caracas only has 16% of the Venezuelan population, 1/6 of the Venezuelan population, but almost half of, or over a third of Venezuelan GDP. And this area is the area where you concentrate the most, let's say, quote unquote, pessimism or bearish sentiment amongst not only business owners but consumers overall. Now, with this slowdown, there is a silver lining and a bunch of good things going on, consequence of this economic slowdown. And let's start by the fact that these businesses, many businesses here in Venezuela, they are unproductive, uncompetitive. They are either reducing their prices, becoming more efficient, offering better value for their goods and services, or just either closing down and leaving room to businesses that are more competitive, they are more efficient in order to offer such goods and services on any given industry. The second silver lining that we can mention, this is my favorite, better prices. Venezuelan prices have been significantly increasing since 2018 on USDs, not on Venezuelan bolivars. However, what we are seeing right now is maybe a price disinflation that regarding, of course, depends on any given industry. So we're seeing also deflation on, depends on the industry, since the past, first time since the past 6 years or so, which of course coincides with the market bottom. But the good thing about this is not only the prices itself, but also that stimulates consumption on the more impoverished population that they are being disregarded as customers in order to favor the, let's say, the wealthier Venezuelans. And that's one of the, let's say, the structural problems, one of many that we have in Venezuela, is that new businesses on the past few years have been catered towards the high-end consumer. However, you have a bunch of people, I'm talking between 50% and 80% of the whole Venezuelan population, that yet, yes, we have to say they are poor, they are being impoverished, and it's a sad fact. However, they still need to consume goods and services from just the essentials, but even in some cases, they also want to join the party regarding leisure and hospitality. And of course, are not gonna get the 5-star treatment. They're not gonna get fancy shopping or fancy traveling. However, they want, I mean, they are at the end, people are human beings. They have families, they have friends, you name it, and they want to also gather around with good people and have a reasonable standard of living. and businesses have neglected most of these people, or most businesses have neglected these people in order to have goods and services that they are able to afford in the first place. So the good thing that we're seeing right now is the flourishing on the past, let's say, 1 year or so, of businesses that care towards this market segment. And the last silver lining that I want to mention is also resilience. Of course, the draconian GDP contraction that we had past decade made many people resilient, and not because they want to go this life journey, just because the situation demanded to, including me. And now the economy is more resilient on the level that we are right now compared to past years. And although the sentiment among business owners is a little bit bearish for the, let's say, the rest of the year, however, is bullish on the long term. I'm talking, of course, among small business owners. And what happens is, for one hand, you have the opportunity to be better, to be a better businessman, a better entrepreneur, a better marketer, a better salesman or saleswoman on this particular situation. You can prepare for the future, and the situation is not as draconian as what we got on 2017. So amongst the business owners, the sentiment is this is just a hiccup, which I totally agree. Maybe it's gonna take, let's say, 3 months, 6 months, maybe a whole year. But at the same time, is the market adjusting itself to reality? This is not unlike the past decades recession and depression that we had, that it was driven by bad political economic policies. Right now, what we had is the market just correcting itself, something that I totally up to, something that I am favor all the time. So we have more competitive businesses, more performing businesses, and we have reasonable goods and services for the population overall. Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.